don't know. We can be pretty freeform tonight.
Okay.
Jack, introduce yourself.
All right. Fair enough. Hello, everyone. I'm Jack. I've been here many times, poking in and out. I'm an IC alum, video editor, and in between work to keep busy because I have to do something with my time. I've been doing video essays and other sort of like digital content and posting them on a small place on YouTube. So I'm just going to show off, right? The plan is just to show off the trailer style thing I made, and then not necessarily feedback on the actual video, but I could talk a little bit about what it's like to make videos for that platform and what you guys would like to see from that sort of platform.
So while you're watching it, come up with ideas for content you want him to make.
Yes, you all are my target audience, so this is very important research for me. And I'm going to remember how to use Zoom because I haven't done this in a minute. Share sound.
And video.
Optimize for video. All right, here we go. This is working. I can't see anyone, so I'm assuming.
Oh yeah, you're good.
Okay.
I think, yeah.
We see the controls at the top, but
when film editing was invented in the late 1890s, it was a highly manual, specialized task, requiring the precise cutting of film strips in order from beginning to end. Mind you, you weren't watching the takes back, you had to physically hold up the film strips to the light in order to see the frames you were cutting. And if you ever got it wrong, you had to pay the film lab to reprint the entire reel and start all over. For a long time, the predominant style of filmmaking was little more than seamlessly stringing one scene after another, making cuts feel invisible, and so editors were often invisible, relegated to the label of technical assembly worker rather than artist.
But as the art of filmmaking developed and the advent of digital, editors had more room to experiment with their footage, to try reordering shots and fine-tuning the flow of a sequence, allowing them to cut a scene using different shots and different takes to deliver the most impact. Over the years, editors have developed new styles that evoke specific moods and emotions, and new techniques to highlight key information, ideas, and insights. Everything I just described is subjective. There is no definitive methodology on editing, no correct way to cut a scene. In other words, it's an art. But there are still those today who see editing as that highly manual, specialized task because editing is unlike any other art. Editing is not the film, nor the video, nor the audio, but rather it's the structure, the connection and juxtaposition of sound and images that create the meaning, create movies, create art. And it's that truly unique quality that makes editing so compelling to study, and why I want to share it with you. I'm Jack, by the way. I'm a video editor, obviously. Here's the pitch. On this channel, I want to explore how we tell stories visually and what it says about us and the world we live in. If that sounds interesting to you, then subscribe, and I'll see you around. Please ignore my very stiff delivery.
No, it was good. Loved it.
But yeah, it's been interesting because I'm an editor, so I'm used to the last part of the video making process, but wow, it was a lot of work to do the other parts of it. But yeah, like Shana said, if there's anything of interest in this sort of area, I speak specifically about editing, but also looking into doing just like general media analysis and other video essays on visual storytelling and that sort of stuff. Or if you want to ask me about making web content for yourself, by yourself, you can also do that. Because not that I have any expertise in that. I've been doing it for like a month, but I could tell you a little bit about what it's been like.
So Jack, when did you launch the channel?
This the first video I made was this one along with an essay for the social network. That was a month ago. I think I grabbed the name like 3 months ago when I had the idea of like, hey, I always thought I should do this. I should, take the first steps in doing that. But first time I put pen to paper was like 2 months ago. Finally got a video out a month later.
And Eric just posted a link in the chat.
Yes, thank you. Yes, I'll appreciate all the engagement I can get. I'm not doing this for any sort of like audience or money. It's mostly as a place to just put my own ideas and to practice making videos. And making videos on my own terms, which is really nice because I've only made videos for clients for like 5 years now. So doing something, having it for yourself, I've been really enjoying, and choosing what I want to do has been fun. So, but any sort of following that comes out of it is cool. I'm not gonna say no.
No, this is really well made. So how do you like structure a schedule? Like how do you as far as like working this in between jobs, like how do you structure that?
Yeah, so I have a whole Notion base for this thing now. Which is mostly like, I could share a little bit of it probably. But in terms of scheduling my time, it's definitely like, it's one of those things where it's like in the slower parts, because I admit it's hard to edit for your job and then go, all right, now that that's done, let's crack over in the other timeline I'm doing for myself. Last thing I want to do at the end of a day of editing is edit more, but it can be actually interesting to do the other parts of video production in the off time, like research, like especially for a channel like this, there's a lot of research. It's not like commentary or comedy or whatever. Because research can be watching videos or other films and taking notes. So it's partly weaving in what I do in my free time to also be a part of the ideas that I'm working on, or just as inspiration for ideas that I'm working on. And then whenever work is slow, like today, when I had this whole week, I had a shoot scheduled that fell through. So now I have a bunch of time this week to work on stuff like this. So yeah.
Yeah, I subscribed already. Thanks, Eric.
Thank you, everyone. I literally minutes before this meeting, I was like putting the finishing touches on another video. It needs like a few more music tracks, but there'll be one like probably later today or tomorrow. So you can look forward to that.
Sweet.
Oh, right, I have the Notion up. I could share this briefly. So this is the Notion. There's a whole video base, which is, this is the rule of 6, which is what I'm about to finish. And every item in this production pipeline opens up into its script and its research. I updated that template, so now it actually has like, it's very organized. And then there's a whole tab for ideas. Other stuff that I'm thinking about doing, or ideas that sort of struck me. So yeah, that's how I keep track of it all, if you're wondering.
Nice. Yeah. Excellent.
Did anyone have any content requests?
Like editing trends, like that, how like decades, how it typified like in movie editing and stuff. I think that would be
Yeah,
interesting.
like the French New
Historical.
Wave and that
Yeah.
sort of stuff. Yeah,
Exactly.
that's on the list somewhere.
Yeah, I imagine.
Yeah, Eric, I've been trying to do like every other week. Try to do at least 2 a week. Or sorry, every other week, 2 a month. But I like to get it quicker. The editing isn't, well, editing's part of it. It's one of those things where like, if I didn't go to film school, I'm sure it'd be much quicker because I would have way lower standards for what I would be making. But because I'm a video editor and it's about editing, I'm like, I gotta put in so much time on the back end in order to make it look nice because the presentation is part of the quality.
I mean,
and then-
granted, knowing your audience and knowing where you're releasing to also helps with that balance.
Yeah, exactly. And then there's other parts of the process that are very unfamiliar to me, like getting out that 2-minute script took me several days of like just performance and like lighting and all that other stuff that I don't think about as an editor. And then I wish I had paid more attention in intro to audio because I could not remember how to EQ properly for the life of me. So I had to relearn all that and all this other stuff. So the first ones took a long time to get right, but now just getting in the process of creating builds that muscle memory. Hopefully it gets quicker.
Preparation is key. Ryan also mentioned in the chat like history of like music video editing.
Yeah, there's a great music editor on YouTube that I follow that does mostly reaction stuff, but that would be a good idea. I'm gonna write that down.
One video idea I just thought of would be, you know, more of a technical thing, but like the principles of applying like, you know, bin organization and everything you do in an
that's one of
NLE,
those-
but
yeah.
doing it across all of the NLEs like Final Cut, Premiere, Resolve, like using the same principles across all three and showing why the principle is more important than the tool.
Yeah, that's one of the ideas I have on here is about organization. It's one of those things where I'm also like sort of shotgunning. I'm trying to do a bunch of ranging ideas to see what people are interested in. So right now it's mostly been like video essay stuff, but I'm not opposed to doing like tutorial, I guess, tutorial or commentary or that other stuff. That's a whole other thing though.
Cool. I think if you have more suggestions, keep dropping them in the chat.
Yeah, I'm gonna be here the whole night, so
Thank you, Jack. And we will move on.
thank you.
Next up, who's here? Max here?
Yeah. Can you see me? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna show my reel. It's a compositing reel that I want to use for compositing internships this summer and small junior positions. So any feedback that you have on like what can make it better, what to cut, things you think a good compositing reel needs, that's all super valuable. Or if anything's confusing, I cut it together really fast to keep it under, like the editing is fast, to keep it under a minute. Can everybody see it?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks,
Nice.
Ryan. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Overall, it was nice. I do have one shot that I don't necessarily know whether or not to keep it in there just because I had a hard time comprehending it, at least at first. was the glasses reflection, because it wasn't that apparent of an
Right,
effect.
yeah.
It was a very subtle one, so I feel like you might be able to cut that one out, perhaps. That's just my take on it.
Sure, yeah. Do you think I should, if I were to keep it, do you think it would be easier to understand if like I did a quick wipe to show it with, without real quick, like right in the beginning?
Maybe.
Okay, it does take up a big chunk of time, so maybe I just get it out
Yeah.
of it.
Mhm.
Yeah. Thanks, though, Eric.
No problem.
I like how we saw it without audio because that's like probably how it's going to be seen. And I think it still holds up. The pacing worked well.
Cool.
Did you guys
Uh,
think there was enough roto?
I have a question.
Yeah, what's up, Brian?
So, what's the process of getting that sort of wiping effect when you want to be able to show like your before and after, like what was the beginning shot, and then how things look like during the compositing process?
I went through like my sort of node chain in my project file, and you just sort of export like you know how you can like hide layers and stuff like that. You just sort of show each major step and just export a JPEG, PNG, like whatever, and then dump them in your like Premiere or Resolve file. And each MLE has like a different way to do it, type of like, but in Resolve, there's a white transition effect. You just drag that on top in between your two clips, maybe put them on different layers, and just you can say how many frames you want that wipe to take, and it'll just show it'll just wipe between two clips and just make sure it's fast, you know. Does that make sense?
Gotcha. Yes. Thank
Cool.
you.
Oh yeah, do you think there was enough roto, as Shannon said?
Do you have roto there though? I don't think I see any.
There was a mat I saw. He did
Yeah,
show a mat shot.
I did have one with these hands,
Oh,
but it's really quick, but I think it shows like kind of like some complex roto and it's quick. I did
Maybe
have another roto shot, and then the people from Framestore told me to remove it because it wasn't like photo real, because it was like the superhero jump from Shayna's classes and stuff like that.
or you can, for the hands, you can add the outline to make a red outline around the hands, so it will be more obvious.
Oh, cool. That's a good idea.
Yeah, I understood that you were showing off the roto for that hand shot, but I didn't like the end result, I guess, wasn't apparent. So maybe in how you time the wipes or make that more apparent. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah.
Are you still working on other test shots that you can add?
Yeah, I've got a few. I've got some that I just didn't put in that are already done.
Yeah, I feel like you're missing like typical shots that should be on a junior compositing reel would be like monitor comp, phone comp, painting, removing something, removing equipment,
Okay. Yeah, I can
tracking. So I think you're missing a few key fundamental types of shots.
Okay.
Anyone else? Did you want to show your other stuff or do you want to save that for something else?
Oh, we can save that. This was
Okay.
helpful.
Cool. All right. So Aaron, you're up. We'll
Okay.
keep on the real trend.
Yeah, so I'm also showing my reel. I'm trying to find a compositor intern or also junior level job at the moment. So here I'll share my personal website. Here are some other stuff in my website. I do digital painting, and also I love comic books, so I draw them myself sometimes. It'll be very quick. And also a project I did when I was in Shayna's class. Here's some just how I did it for the pre-production, post-production stuff of that. I believe you guys are very familiar with that. And then there's a resume and contact. Thank you.
That looks so much better than the last time we saw it.
Yeah, huge improvement. And the way you present like your kind of disparate threads and stuff on your site, I think reads much better now, much more organized. It's really impressive too, the illustration and comic work and supplement to your, VFX work.
Thanks. All right, the train shot in the chat, Jacob said that I need to do like more adjustment for that one. I did, and I also get a lot of advice from that, but just sometimes I I couldn't get the right measure or the value for that one, but I will try it again to make it better with that one.
Someone would like you to put your email or your website address link.
Coming up. Relighting. Okay.
So is there anything she's missing?
Hello.
Hi, Rebecca.
Hi. I really liked it. I was just wondering, like, you have the Maya logo on the beginning, but I saw more 2D work. So I was wondering if you're trying to focus on more 2D instead of 3D, because if it's more 2D, like your illustrations and whatnot, then you probably don't need the Maya logo. Just because I guess when you're applying to jobs, people want to make sure you know what you're interested in doing. So if you have like a mix of 2D and 3D, they'll probably also ask you what you're more interested in. But I really liked it. It looked good.
Got it. Thank you.
All right, you're getting all good things. Cool.
Thank you.
So I think Molly is next. Are you ready now?
Yeah, she's forcefully being napping now, so we can definitely.
Perfect.
Just let me try to understand how do I screen share this, because I've never really used Zoom at all.
So you're gonna want to hit screen share, and then at the bottom before you click
Got-
OK, you want to hit share video and audio.
Let me know if you can hear the sound.
This book is going to be about things that are red, like red things. Red things. To start off, I'm going to show you what the color red looks like. I've got something red right in here in this bag, right here in this bag.
In the library, we have a blanket set up, and kids come to read to her. So we have kids of all ages want to just spend some quality time with the dog. It's an unconditional love. My name is Wendy Finn, and I am Sasha's mom. Sasha loves people. She acts as if you are the person who have to give her a pat, when she sees you. So that's why I thought maybe she'd be a good therapy dog.
Have a good day. That's the queen. Oh, you waiting for the nuts?
So that's the part where I want to show the part. Basically it's still in the rough cut, so I haven't done any post-production yet, so it's the audio. But I'm kind of curious to see that how people think about to opening a documentary about pet therapy. Does this one work, or do you think I should try a different approach? Hello?
I guess what's your overall story arc?
Basically the story arc will be following one of the volunteer. She will go through the evaluation of becoming a volunteer at the pet therapy, and then also to actually perform the visitings at schools and different places. And we will also have some of the clips of students giving feedbacks of how they benefit from getting pet therapy. But yeah, I try to kind of want to combine it into like a documentary, but also like that kind of Business Insider YouTube video, that kind of style. So I'm trying to work out what might work best. So.
Jack?
Can I ask so like when it comes to documentary, you have your subject, which is the thing you're filming, but then you also should have an idea of like what it's about, like what you want the message to be. Do you have an idea of what that would be per se?
I think for me, the message is one way to introduce pet therapy, and also again to raise awareness of mental health, because in the process we also mentioned about how it's easier for people to seek help to a dog rather than to actually medical professionals. So I'm hoping to use this as a gateway to encourage people to take care of themselves mentally instead of physically. But well, not just physically. Yeah.
In addition. Yeah, no, that's a good idea.
Yeah, it's just currently I'm still in the editing process. I haven't done any audio posts or any posts yet. I'm currently just want to make sure the story logic and how the opening shots and everything makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Documentary editing is this whole other thing. Different from regular editing, because you're basically writing it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's kind of hard, but also another thing is I was using Avid to do the editing, and then a lot of things that when I was trying to use and it just crashed. So if anyone can help me with Avid, I would really appreciate it. I just got my certificate today. I'm really happy about it. So do people like the beginning or
Did you have another option? Like, do you want us to hear what your other idea is?
some other option is, so there was a shot that I make. It's a girl on a wheelchair. She just wheel over, and then the pet therapy volunteer tug over her dog and put it on her lap. And there's another one, which is a dog at the airport walking towards a kid. And I was thinking using one of these to starting the documentary.
I think the airport might sound good.
The airport one?
Yeah. I said in the chat that I think having that connection between child and therapy dog is very riveting. It definitely holds up because when people think about it, they're like, oh, look at the child playing with the dog, and oh, dogs are cute and amazing. And I know your topic, you stated it was the dog being certified to be a physical therapy dog. Is that what the topic is? I might be wrong. Please correct me.
Therapy dog. It's not physical therapy, it's like for mental health in general. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah. So I feel as if the airport can be another route that you can go to as the means of maybe what's happening in the airport footage, if you can describe it.
Basically it's a kid on the other side of the hallway, and then the dog and his volunteer walk towards the kid, and then they starting to have a petting, and then the dad was like just holding the kid while also petting, and then say, oh, this is such a cute Chesapeake breed, which is a dog's breed. And then they were talking and having conversation, but eventually I didn't use it because I feel like the dad was more engaged than the kid, because I think a few seconds later the kid just ran to the mom instead of petting the.
That makes sense. With added context, I think staying with the current scene might be better, but again, my opinion is different from yours, but I still think that this project will come out really beautifully, and I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you so much. There's also another question I would like to ask people, like, because I'm debating if I should go to the festival path or just put it on YouTube, because if you put it on film festival, a lot of times you have to wait to actually release them to the internet, and it's not. I feel like right now, because how popular YouTube and everything is, I don't think festival is the necessary way. So I'm just kind of curious, what would you think would be the best for this documentary?
That might depend.
Yeah.
That
Sorry,
might
Jack,
depend
go ahead.
more on what your goals are for it. Like, what do you want to get out of the project, I guess? Is it more so you want to leverage it as a way to make connections in short film, or are you just more interested in people seeing it, or a third option that I can't think of right now?
Like, I'm kind of hoping ultimately I can use it to pitch to, like National Geographic Channel, because there's actually 9 different animals that you can become therapy animals, and I want to make it into a series and to have one episode talk about one animals, because parrots are also a kind of therapy pets, and they are a lot of times working with linguistics to train kids or people with speaking disabilities. And then there's also cats, and then it's also very interesting to see how cats, who we believe generally do not care about people or just do their own business, become a therapy pet. So I think that's currently my ultimate goal. And so I'm kind of debating which path my work backs to actually ultimately pitch to big companies like that.
I think you would have to research if National Geographic or the channels that you want to pitch it to go to certain festivals. So if it does well at the festival, then they would be picking you up and distributing it through the festival. Otherwise, if you talk to our professor on distribution at Newhouse, he says that it's harder to sell something that's already done because you have already put your stamp all over it, and the studio has no input. So
That's kind of different from when I was proposing this idea to one of the professors. She told me they will not buy the things I haven't done yet because they don't know how much they need to invest.
yeah,
But
I think it depends which place you're going. So like PBS wants things that are done and they're not going to pay you much for it, but then they'll show it.
yeah,
Whereas Netflix or a streaming service will want it with their input so it fits their brand.
okay.
So I think you'll have to research a little bit on Nat Geo and other similar places, Discovery, Animal Planet, that kind of stuff, and see if there's anything that they do festival wise. Otherwise, if you put it on YouTube, then you're in like a huge marketing campaign to get it viewers.
Yeah.
So if you feel like you can get viewership and then it becomes something that has millions of views, then it'll get known through the YouTube sector.
Got it. Thank you so much. This is very helpful.
Brad, did you have
Yes. So what is the length of this? Is already, sorry, my machine crashed, so I missed just everything but the tail end of what you're showing. But what is the length and format of this short doc or what?
It's a short film documentary. It's not supposed to be longer than 20 minutes. Which I'm working on. It's probably gonna be about 15 minutes. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. So festivals are becoming more, because you have many tiers of, festival. Having it published online, especially if you're doing like an episodic type release where it's not like the full thing, are a little bit more tolerant than they have been maybe in the past. And it depends on like the tier of festival. But if you're going for a major festival, then yeah, you definitely want to keep it from being online.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay, thank you so much.
I think you're on the right path. Cool. Ryan, you're next.
Yep.
Oh, okay. I got confused because I was like, is there like a Syracuse Ryan? And I was just like, oh crap. Okay, so oh wait, no, wrong button. Share screen, ArtStation. Okay. So hi, my name is Ryan. I'm a second year, so a lot of my work is like starting to be organized. I got an ArtStation recently, so I feel pretty happy for it. I have two sort of reels where one is for my environment design. So that's a lot of my works in Unreal and Blender. And the other one is my After Effects one that is mostly Blender and After Effects. So should I show both or I have only time for one? They're each like 90 seconds each.
Got like 5 minutes for you.
Fair. So I guess I'll just play both. Each is a minute each. Okay, I'll just
You can include the audio.
not include the audio?
No, you can, yeah.
Oh.
Can't hear anything. That's what I'm saying.
Oh.
I mean,
I don't know if I'm sharing that.
Either way.
Yeah, so that was my motion graphics one, and then I have that's some of my works. I have my environmental design one here. Same intro, because I was lazy. Yeah, so I'm willing to take like anyone's suggestions, thoughts. I'm kind of like new to making a reel, so I don't really know like the rules and regulations. I wanted to just thank like everyone that was sharing their reels before, because one of the common thing that I saw was just like you had your logo, email, and programs that you each use. So I'm gonna probably put that into like my reel moving forward. When I get the chance to fix it, which is probably gonna be like soonish.
Yeah, these are really dynamic with the audio, and I think
Mhm.
that's a good, I think your pacing and the way you edited it with audio, having seen these before, I think works really well. I would maybe be more specific in your lower third about what you're doing in each, and then like especially at the end, like just credits of any assets and stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah, I just want to be very specific about what you're doing in each.
Sure thing. So should I like put programs at like the last part?
I think that's relatively standard to include that and give context to what the work we saw and the applications that were used to create it. Yeah, in the end card,
Gotcha.
that's appropriate. Yeah.
Yeah, Max and Aaron, you guys had a very similar beginning screen. Was that a format given to you? Mac.
It just seemed like after watching a bunch of reels, like just the common, like the standard, you know. Like most people just tell you just do black and white, but I feel like it's nice to have a little flair.
Yeah, you just want to make sure that your name, contact info is very clear.
Mhm. I also have on my ArtStation like a small portfolio of some of my works from like class and just basic things. I had very much fun like putting these two because these were like examples of other works that I do outside of class and like my process with things. I'm gonna like post my ArtStation down below if anyone would like to follow me. I need all the following I can get. I like to be a huger stander. No, a huge standing. My grammar sucks. But I will just put it in the chat if anyone would like to see it and or look through it, since some of these posts have multiple photos in them of different projects.
I like the consistent like vaporwave aesthetic. I think you have a nice coherent style.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ryan, I liked a lot of this. There were a couple shots in the environment that had people in it, and they kind of ruined it for me a little bit. I kind of liked it without the people. I just wanted to look at the environments. So I don't know if you want to re-look at, there were like two shots kind of towards the beginning.
Continue. I'm sorry.
I didn't know, maybe you had a different section to use of the same environment that might work a little better.
Yeah, because it stands out because everything is kind of so
that one's fine.
Yeah, it's just
this one's fine.
Maybe the flame one and the very last
Yeah,
shot.
the flame one.
This one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
think
I can. I
holds
still have the
along there.
file. Yeah.
And then the
So
very
holds
last shot,
along-
I feel that the very last shot was also a little distracting, where it's you have much stronger work elsewhere, and you kind of the idea of always get opening and closing strong. If you want to kind of tuck any, let's say, mediocre work or anything that's not quite as strong, but you really want to open and close strong. So, yeah, just consider, yeah, those two shots.
So this one, eliminate the person that's there, which I still have the file to do so. Change it without person. And then you want me to replace the last shot with something a little bit more mediocre?
No, I'm saying that the last shot it stands out as kind of being different. And that's just the nature of if you have a bunch of kind of digital graphic imagery and then we see a human being, like our eyes are drawn to that. So I think it's just the last shot of your reel seemed like we focus on this one person for a while and just seemed kind of took me out of it.
Okay.
Yeah, so just consider that, especially that last shot, but I think the fire shot too.
Okay. So is there like anything I should switch up in order per se? Because there's like two people that pop up really. This is a him.
I think the reason the first shot works well in the context of the style is that it's silhouetted, so we don't see recognizable facial features.
Okay.
It's graphic shape, and that other shot there, same scene, same idea. You have a graphic shape, not a recognizable face.
Okay, gotcha. So I can definitely do that.
And what is you said these are 90 seconds a piece?
Actually 60 seconds. I don't have much.
That's the length you want to shoot for, 60 seconds.
Yeah. I'm hoping though that I get on top of more projects, so hopefully in due time the reel will be not longer but more vast.
Yeah, that's kind of the idea, is just cycling out, work as you create new, better work. You just kind of take out the weakest piece in your current reel and replace it.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you.
Evan, do you still want to show something?
Yeah, if I could, that'd be great.
Cool. So after Evan goes, we just have a couple questions from people.
So I'm Evan. I'm a first year television, radio, and film major. I haven't been to a ton of these meetings. This is, I think, my third one. So I'll share my screen real quick.
You got your video on already. Yay.
So I don't have any video to show, but I really would like to get into editing documentaries once I get out of school. So I figure I need to be making documentaries to build up my portfolio. So I'll kind of explain a little bit of this. There's a story that my dad tells that is just this story that gets told every 5 years or so. It's like a 20-minute long story. It could be a stand-up special, but I really think it could be interesting being told as a documentary. It's a story of him and his lifelong best friend in 2002. I'm from Pittsburgh. They traveled from Pittsburgh to Atlanta to pick up an antique ambulance and drove it all the way back to Pittsburgh, and kind of the trials and tribulations they had on their way back. So I kind of want to do this documentary of us retracing the steps of this road trip, while also kind of telling the story of their friendship, and learning more about kind of that area of antique ambulance collecting, and kind of all three of those together. So I know this is mostly post-production, but I know obviously there's some people here who have experience with short documentaries. I really would like to, if possible, get this to an hour, closer to feature length documentary. So if anybody has any in terms of shooting, that's my main thing I'm focusing on right now, because obviously we'll have an interview set up, But then as we're kind of recreating this road trip, retracing the steps of it, we'll want to be filming in the car. So, you know, we'll need smaller cameras, multiple angles, but then we'll also need sound for any conversations in the car. And then obviously when we're on location at places, if we're kind of walking around and they're telling stories about, you know, the past and where they were at this location, we'll want angles of us walking around, and obviously want good audio too. So I know obviously there isn't a ton that I've done yet, but really I would just suggest take any advice or suggestions about trying to do a little bit more of a longer production, because I've done short documentaries before and really enjoyed it, but this is definitely pushing it further than I have before. So I have, you know, some angles, just planning and setups, but I would really be open to any advice.
Very cool idea. How long are you thinking?
I'd like it to be like close to an hour.
Okay.
With kind of all the parts I want to touch on, I think that could be possible. And like I said, I've done short form documentaries, but I want to push myself to make a longer project. So that's the main goal.
It's like broadcast length docs for like PBS and stuff. What are those, Shayna? Are those like 50 minutes?
Yeah, somewhere around there. And actually, PBS documentaries are very much a big inspiration for this.
Cool.
So.
Yeah, so when are you taking capstone?
So I'm a freshman, but I will be graduating in 3 years. So that'll be spring of 25.
Are you gonna be main campus or LA?
Main campus.
I would suggest, after you get feedback here, if there's any, meeting me. I teach capstone.
Okay.
And I've worked with students who are they've done like a 10-part episodic docu-series as their capstone, and another one shot like a year in advance. So if you want to start working as this towards your capstone, we can start now.
Okay, that's not something I even considered, but yeah, that would be really cool.
So that would be not in this meeting, but
yeah,
make a meeting with me.
Okay. Thanks so much.
So what do you conceive of the format? And sorry if it's maybe clear in your notes, but I didn't catch it. Like VO, your dad being in it, like how are you like planning on executing the retelling of this story over an hour, like in this doc format?
So I have about 8 interviews I want to do. Obviously my dad and his best friend kind of individually telling the story, and then them together, and then kind of some people who have known them a long time and can kind of tell the story of their friendship, because that's definitely, I would say, 1/3 of the documentary. I want to be the story of their friendship. And then other people who will be were key players in that original trip. So kind of retelling the story of that trip and retracing those steps of the trip, kind of going back to the locations that they went to and retelling that story. But then also kind of this weird hobby of antique, like ambulance and hearse collecting, I think is an interesting hobby that not many people know of. So that'll kind of be another third of it, kind of talking about that. So obviously a bunch of interviews I'll have, and then I have locations that I want to go to in August, I believe it is, there is one of these antique ambulance shows that we're planning on going to, where we'll get a lot of footage to kind of talk about that hobby. So obviously just interviews intercut with kind of the footage. Obviously a lot of that will come to play in the editing. But from what I've found with other documentary projects, just get as much B-roll as possible. So I want to have, you know, as much as we can get, and then hopefully turn it into something pretty cool.
So what's the final third? The interviews are a third, the locations are a third. And then are we recreating the
Oh.
trip?
Sorry, I meant like in terms of like the story.
Yeah.
A third of it would be the story of their friendship. A third of it would be retelling
Gotcha.
the trip, and then the last third would be this collecting hobby.
If you can, try to secure some interviews at the locations.
Okay.
You're saying there's an antique ambulance show that strikes me as is to provide some sort of stylistic continuity to the other
Yeah.
content,
Okay.
so it doesn't kind of feel orphaned.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I realize this is not much of a completed thing, but I really appreciate all the feedback.
No, very cool. I like it.
Elise, do you have something to say?
I wanted to ask, like, do you plan to use archive as a B-roll?
Yeah, so I would really like to use some archive. I know my dad has been, while I've been talking to him about this, he's been trying to dig up a lot of old footage of him in the old EMS days. I was actually just looking at like Adobe stock and a few other stock websites. Not a ton of great archival footage I could find, but my dad does have a lot of connections with these EMS people, where hopefully I could get a lot of that archival type footage.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of documentary lately. They use animations for the B-roll archive that they couldn't find. So it would be interesting if you, I mean, if you want to do that, it's just more work, but it's also more interesting for the documentary.
Oh yeah, I really like documentaries that have that sort of animation in it, which that is not something that I'm very versed in. But like you said, if I wanted to maybe do this for a capstone, and I could, you know, bring some other people on to help with that. Thanks so much.
Claudia's given you some notes from her current situation.
All right, I will write all of those down. That's very good advice.
But yeah, if you want to meet before the end of the semester, let me know.
Yeah, I certainly will. Thank you.
Do you have any other questions, or should we move on to, we have a
I
couple
think that's it.
just questions. Cool. Nate, do you want to ask your Blender questions?
I would love to. So my first question is just kind of a pretty general question, but I thought I would have a lot more time to make my own assets for my capstone project. Just to give you guys a little overview, I'm doing 3 animated shorts that are going to be about the environment, and yeah, they're going to have sort of different things going on in them. One is a beach, and one is of Yosemite, and one is of like the ocean. So yeah, and I'll have those 3 be my final capstone project. But in realizing that I can't make a lot of the assets that I wanted to originally, I'm having to go to asset libraries to look for things. And so I'm just wondering if anybody has any good asset libraries that they know of, that they can get free assets from, or that they can use a free trial like memberships to get things.
Let the links come in. Nate, do you have the chat up?
Yeah. I use Blender Kit a lot, which is just like built into Blender. But yeah, Polyhaven I've used a little bit. Quixel Bridge, CG Trader, Blender Market. Ooh, ArtStation. I don't think I've used ArtStation yet. Okay. All right, let me just screenshot. And then all right, fine. I'm also wondering if anybody has any tips for shortening render times. I am doing a lot of really big environments with a lot of ocean. I'm doing a lot of them with like ocean, water physics and things. And yeah, I've been using Eevee, but it's still taking a very, very long time. So I am also like rendering them in 4K, and you know, it's taking like 4,096 samples, I think, for every frame. So yeah, I don't know if anybody has any tips for that, but as of right now,
Depending on your machine.
like
Oh,
20.
sorry.
No, you're good. My current situation is like 20 computers in Newhouse that I just like set up and render like certain series of images on each one. But yeah.
How many like image textures are you using, and like what's how many polygons are in your scene, stuff like that? Is because that could be bogging it down if using 8K textures.
Yeah, it's a lot of polygons. Especially the one that I'm doing with Yosemite has a lot of trees, and all of those trees have a ton of leaves on them, which is making it really slow. But sorry, I'm just trying to look at the chat too at the same time. Topaz AI.
For your trees, you can use a particle system for your leaves in Blender, or strands if it's like a pine, but I honestly don't know what kind of trees are in Yosemite. But also instancing. And if you're duplicating stuff, make sure you're like doing duplicated instances. You could also do some cool stuff with the geometry nodes of instancing the points. I'm not really sure what your scene setup is like, but those are just some things to keep in mind.
I can give you guys a brief. I can show you guys like a screenshot maybe of what it is, but I don't think I can play my Blender animation off of my computer right now. But I can show you guys what it looks like just so you guys get the feeling of it. Maybe. Oh, yes. Okay, render it half the res and then upscale. Okay, got it. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I really want to use the render farm that VPA has, but I emailed the person to use it and they didn't email me back. So I don't think they want me to use it. But.
You just have to harass them multiple times before they answer you.
I've done
again.
it a couple of times. I've bugged them a couple of times about it, and that was how I got access to the labs of VPA, and so like their computers that I get to use, I love that. But like the render farm specifically, I don't know if it's not built yet or if it's not finished yet, or if I don't know what it is, but I've emailed them a couple of times and they haven't gotten back to me.
Who's the person you're emailing?
I gotta go back and check my email. It's the shoot. It's whoever is in charge of it at VPA. I can't open Google Chrome. It's going so slow right now. No, shoot. What is the name? Oh, that's gonna bug me. No, but I know that I've sent out that email a couple of times, like, hey, can I render something off you guys? Ooh, Render Street has a $50 a month. Okay. All right. Awesome. Good to know. how does Render Street work? Does it just like you just send your file in? I don't know.
There's a plugin for Blender that you pretty much you can do all your settings in there, and then it'll package everything and upload it to the cloud, and you can just track it on the website. It's intuitive, easy to use.
Okay. Oh, wow. Well, I mean, for my capstone project, it might be worth it just to give myself the most amount of time to be able to work on my project. But yeah, that's about it for me. But can I just show like a quick screenshot of what I'm working on so people sort of.
Yes.
All right. Can you guys see that?
Yes.
All right. Oh, let's see if this works. No. Okay. Wow, my computer is not. So this is like sort of what my scene is going to look like. I'm making like this little pool beach scene where I'm having this this pool right by the ocean, and this all back here is going to be ocean, and then there's going to be like a sunset going on in the background. And it's basically like a pan down, so it's going to start up in the sky, and there's going to be like birds flying across and stuff in the background, like shadows of birds, because I'm nervous about them actually like being able to see the details of the bird. I don't know how good I am going to be at animating them, so I'm hopefully just doing shadows of birds. But yeah, and then it's just going to like pan down, and there's going to be this little camera here, and it's going to be printing out images, and it's going to be like a fake product integration for Polaroid. So, yeah. How do I get out of it?
Yeah, I don't know if you can see the chat at the same time.
Yeah. Okay.
Looking at the ocean, is that the ocean modifier?
Yeah, it's just the I just did a plane, and then yeah, ocean.
And depending on your subdivisions, and also, I mean, I know you're using Eevee, so the render time displacement stuff might not work with that, but also seeing if you can fudge it a little bit with a less resolution in the scene actually, and then with normal maps faking the rest of it.
Yeah, that's actually what I plan. That's what I did for one of my animations, which is one of a boat, and it's like out in the open ocean, and so I had to make a really big ocean for it. And what I did is I just did 4 separate planes, and then I did it like I shaped it like a diamond. So I had the one that was in the front that had the boat had the highest resolution, and then the ones in the back had lower resolutions, and that actually worked out pretty well. But yes, thank you for that, because I think I don't know how to do it within one plane, how you can make a singular plane later in the plane, have it be less lower resolution than like closer in the plane. I don't know. That's a little confusing to me, but
If you put your email in the chat for me, I can send you like a bunch of stuff just with different little things that you said you've needed. I just over the years have found good resources for a lot of that stuff.
I would very much appreciate that. This is like my first time doing, or not my first time, but it's my sort of my first time like working in Blender and doing all that stuff. So anybody who has like contacts about it, or anybody here that I can just keep checking in with on my project and ask for help. I promise I won't be a nuisance, but like I definitely could use the help. So yeah.
I'm also going to email you the render instructions that I was given.
Perfect.
I don't know if they're still relevant, but you can like check it out and see if anything's helpful.
No, yeah, I'd love to, I mean, use those render settings and just see what happens.
Yeah, definitely.
Great, thank you.